What shoot is this? I'm gonna drive on the Bravo and get it.
Nice.
Good kill. He demands on one crew member and he's not dead yet.
You know, obviously the most balanced tank ever is the cheese wedge.
That last crew member was Ryan Gosling from Drive.
Guys,
Hell yeah! Now it's time to get controversial. Sweden is one of the most popular tech trees in War Thunder owing to its unique designs and improvements over designs they did import from other nations. For example, the Stridsvagn 122 is essentially a Leopard 2A5, albeit with extra armor on the front hull that actually improves its defense against shots from the front. The funny rocket light tank meme was also started by the Swedish with the USH 405, which the Kaiten automat then inherited. Sweden also has the S-Tank, or better known as the Stridsvagn 103. Well, it's kind of backwards. The Stridsvagn 103 is better known as the S-Tank. It has a special ability in War Thunder to operate on one crew member. From the front, it's also unbelievably tanky, and the 4-second autoloader is just the cherry on top. But of course, with all the nations in War Thunder, they suffer in certain aspects. So we'll take a look at the Swedish tree and just see in what aspects Sweden suffers in. First, let's go over the good things about the Swedish tech tree. The Swedish Ground Forces tech tree is very solid high-tier vehicles. From rank 5 to rank 7, Swedish Ground Forces can give you a decent lineup that can hold their own. At 8.0, the Stridsvagn 101, 103A, PVRBV 551, USH 405, and the Finnish T54, and perhaps the Vidar if you bought into that, can really hold their own most of the time. At 8.7, the 104, 103C, PBV 302 Bill, T55M, IKV, and the VX is the improved version of the 8.0 lineup, trading each vehicle for a better one. 10.3 is where Sweden starts to shine best, with 2 Leopard 2A4s, 2 CV9040s, well, 3 if you got the LVKV, the CV90-105, the ASRAD, and the AG37. The Swedish tech tree becomes one of the most competitive tech trees in the game. Throw in the Mi-28A, and 10.3 Sweden is simply a powerhouse. Now, let's go over to one of my first observations about Sweden suffering. The Swedish aircraft tree does not have a lot of standout vehicles. The SK-60 and the Saab 105 are sorta good, but Swedish aircraft take a lot of work to make them competitive. Now with 11.0 getting less pressure by 12.0 aircraft and seeing more down tiers, the JA-37C is starting to enter a renaissance period. But in turn, the JA-37D, a very heavy fighter with less than stellar loadouts, is invariably still painful to use against F-16Cs and MiG-29 SMTs. While the PS-37A's Trackwell scan is nifty at 11.0, at 11.7 it really needs a better payload that can utilize it. Giving it a higher BR than the Tornado F3 at this point because it could get AMRAAMs in the future is a stupid way to go about it. Sure, it has a lot of countermeasures, but then again, so do the Tornado ADVs. The thing with Sweden is the best of Sweden is yet to come. At least Japan got a fantasy F-16 for their troubles. The Finnish line doesn't have much standout aircraft as well, the MiG-21 BIS being a side grade or alternative to the JA-37C. Though it gives players options in the low tier to play decent 109s instead of trying to make it with the JA-22 or the J-26. Another gripe I have about the Swedish aircraft that is very specific is the AJS-37. The improvement of the AJS-37 over the AJ-37 in-game is the RB-74 capability. But the RB-74 is unusable if the AJS-37 mounts RB-75 missiles. This means in ground RB, if you're using the AJS-37 in an attacker role, it has a diminished fighter capability, a sacrifice that no other aircraft makes for close air support. Oh, yeah, and the fact that everything is on pods in the AJ-37s makes stock grinding a bit difficult, especially balancing guns, countermeasures, and air-to-air missiles in the four-wing pylons. Now let's move on to the Swedish ground forces. The biggest problem with Sweden's ground forces was before the Finnish were added, actually. Now that Finland's here, I think it's pretty much alright. Before they were added, Sweden's low-tier vehicles were a mess. Most vehicles were of different battle ratings, meaning to conjure up any lineup below 7.0, a vehicle had to be up-tiered. But now, with the Finnish vehicles, you could build considerable lineups. But the next problem still persists. Most low-tier Swedish vehicles are over-tiered or simply just mediocre. Vehicles like the Lago 1 and M41 are still using 37mm guns with worse pen than the Stuart at 2.7, simply because they get APDS at the end. Sweden would benefit from dynamic battle ratings so that these vehicles don't have to face, T-34s, Panzer IVs, and Shermans with woefully inadequate guns until at least they unlock their APDS. The Della Torn is a standout at low tier, but unfortunately it is the only one. My final gripe with the Swedish tech tree is that, more often than not, premiums are generally better than tech tree vehicles. For example, the Storm Artillery Van 20.12 is easily the best Swedish vehicle at its BR. The Vidar has no peer, and the CV90-105's peer is the CT-CV105HP, which is also not a tech tree vehicle. The J35XS is just slightly better than the D thanks to the 12 countermeasures it gets access to, and the Pyörimirski is really good at 4.3. It really feels like before Finland, the only way to get out of low-tier Sweden was the Storm Artillery Van 20.12, Stridsvagn 103-0, or the CV90-105, and for aircraft it was originally the J29D, the J35A, now the J35XS. Even I had to admit that I had the J29D to grind out Swedish aircraft back in 2020. But now, thanks to Finland, you can generally crawl your way with the T-34, Panzer IV, Comet, and the Bf-109G. Having said all that, I still maintain that Sweden has some of the most consistently performing lineups. The two STRVs, the Leopard 2A6 Finland and the CV90-120 lineup is one of the best at top tier. Pair it with the ITO-90M, it's actually very good. And when you go lower, you have the VAC-40 to pair with the 8.7 vehicles, the LVKV and the ASRADs, and the LVRBVs to pair with 10.0s and 10.3s. And most importantly, the most important thing about the Swedish tech tree is that the STRV 103 lets you do this.
You've experienced that firsthand more often than not. All of us, not both of us.
IT1. Oh,
Now I'm really gonna
IT1.
die. My barrel's out.
I'm coming. Where is he? Is that him?
Here, there's a tank here. He's being shot at. And to my
Yeah,
left is an
trying to find an
SPIA.
angle.
He's down as
I'm trying
well.
to find an angle.
Don't worry, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. There's another one
They're all
coming in
gone.
over here. Merkava. He's gonna shoot at me.
Yep.
He's
I think
getting
he
ready.
shoot me. I was right
He
on
shot
him.
me. He shot me. Shot me. Shot me.
I'm
Shot me.
pushing him. I'm pushing
He's down.
him.
Chieftain's down. What else is coming? That one. Merkava as well.
There
Okay.
you go. You're finally dead.
This is gonna be it, boys.
Yeah, BMP.
I'm
Not
being
enough for
repair
me.
looped by the ZSU. It's over.
I'm still alive.
It's over. Oh, okay. My road wheels now.
Where's the enemy at?
Here,
There's
here,
bomb.
here.
Copy, copy, copy. Pushing, pushing.
Keep trying. Keep trying. You can keep trying. I'm just gonna die. I'm just gonna live here forever.
Getting bounced by the cheese wedge. That's a mood.
Oh, there you go. To summarize, the pros of the Swedish tech tree is that it has consistent lineups, powerful high-tier ground lineups, and multiple lineup choices at high tier. The cons are that it has mediocre low-tier ground vehicles, mediocre aircraft tech tree, and for some reason, premium counterparts are better. To rate the Swedish Tech 3 out of 10, I would give it a solid 8. If it had better close air support or generally better aircraft, because I am an Air RB player at heart, it would be easily 10 because the SCRVs and the CV90s are just fun. Pure fun and pure class. Well, that's what I think. Thanks for watching. This is the Dr. ND, and as always, Godspeed.